What's up, YouTube? You've probably noticed I haven't uploaded a video in quite a while, and that's because I've been working on this epic video just for you. But before we get into what this video is about, let me give you a tour of all the things I've done off camera in the meantime. As you can see, my house is looking way different than before, and I've done a lot, so let me give you a quick tour of what I've done. First, I built and planted these humongous wheat fields so I have plenty of bread to breed some villagers. Then I built this massive villager trading hall and I organized them by profession. Then I built this huge storage area so that way I can put all my items together and keep them organized. And speaking of organized, I built this automatic item sorter to collect all the items from my mob farm. Then I built this massive guardian farm. And I drained all the water out of the temple to get the maximum amount of guardian spawns. As I was doing all those things, I realized those are pretty normal activities, but I want to give you something even more epic in a video, so I decided I'm going to completely transform the entire End Island. This build and editing this video took me weeks to do, so if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, it would mean the world to me. Now let's go transform that End Island. The first thing we gotta do is completely level out this island so it's flat. But as usual, it's taking way too long to mine by hand. So instead, let's blow it up. Yo, that was a blast. But I ran out of TNT, so now I gotta do the rest by hand. So now that I have a piglin trading farm, I have a ton of crying obsidian, and that's what I'm gonna use for this entire island floor. Plus, it lets off some light, so that way no Enderman will spawn on it, which will be awesome. So I have a ton of crying obsidian, so I'm gonna build an outline, and that way I know how much area I wanna fill. I should have enough, but let's see how it goes. And that took a while, and I used up all the crying obsidian I had. So let's take a look and see how much we got done. Alright, I got most of the inner part done, so that's looking pretty good. I might have to AFK overnight later to get the rest of the crying obsidian, but for now let's work on those pillars. I really like the way this sea lantern glows and is animated, so I'm going to change the black obsidian in the pillars to this white glowing sea lantern look. And over here is where my collection area system is for my guardian farm, so I should have plenty of materials to build a bunch of sea lanterns. So let's fill up these shulker boxes and we'll be on our way. To get started, I'm basically just going to completely outline these pillars with these sea lanterns and change them from that boring black obsidian to a white glowing animated sea lantern. And since I'm just going to be building for the next few hours, let's cue up another awesome music montage. Everything is looking awesome so far, but the pillars are still a little bit boring just being completely white, so I'm going to come up with a cool way to decorate them to give them even more of a pop in this awesome new End Island. So I'm going to use some of this blackstone and these glowberries to give it a contrast and give it a new awesome look. And I really like how that's adding some dimension to the pillars, but it still needs a little bit more. So let's see what else we can add to it. We still have a lot of leftover crying obsidian, so I might as well add some of that to it and see if it matches. And actually that's perfect. That leaves just enough white for it to still glow and look awesome, but it gives it a cool look and makes it look not so flat and boring. So let me just fill in the rest of these layers and let's get an overall look of this pillar, and maybe we got a final draft. I think we have it. That looks really good to me, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that to the rest of the pillars. You guys have no idea how long that took. Not only did I have to individually place every single blackstone and obsidian, but I had to place every single glowberry and bone meal it just to get a glowing berry on the vine. So the next order of business is to get a beacon for every single pillar that's there. The only problem is I don't have a wither farm or a wither skeleton farm, so I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna get all these beacons. So I'm gonna need to build a wither skeleton farm, which is gonna require me to spawn proof the entire nether fortress. This is gonna take a ton of wood, but more importantly, this is gonna take a ton of time. Okay, this farm is not working at all, so I'm just gonna watch a quick tutorial and build it one step at a time, so be right back. So I went ahead and followed this tutorial on YouTube that's on your screen now. It worked awesome for me, so thank you very much to that YouTube creator to make this farm. So now that it's working perfectly, I'm gonna go ahead and AFK here until I have enough wither skeleton heads to make all those beacons. And now that all the wither farming is done, I can go ahead and add beacons to every single one of my pillars. Not only did I add beacons to all the pillars, I went ahead and added roofs for them, and I gave them purple beacon beams. And this looks amazing. After testing a few different block combinations, I decided that crying obsidian, magma block, and soul sand is an awesome looking combination together. So I'm going to use that to fill in the rest of the island. But I need some more magma blocks. And I basically have infinite soul sand in my piglin trading farm, so I'm gonna grab that too. And after hours of laying these blocks down, it looks awesome. I love this color scheme. All the colors work together perfectly. Plus, since this is soul sand and I have soul speed boots, I got the zoomies and I can go around this entire island at lightning speed. Plus, I squared off some of the edges because I want this to have a really defined look rather than a random hodgepodge island. And now I'm going to completely cover the outer edge with end rods, so that way I can light up this area and I'll have no more Endermen spawning anywhere near the center of my island. And now let's focus on the center of my island. At first I was going to build like a temple thing, but I have a great idea in mind instead. First I'm going to build a platform because I got something to build on top of it. And this is my first ever attempt at building any sort of like statue object in Minecraft. So hopefully it goes well. I'm following a tutorial, so it should work out perfectly. So slowly but surely, one block at a time, I'm just going to make sure I count right so that way it has the perfect dimensions. And check that out, this thing looks sweet! This is the first ever statue I've built. Obviously an Enderman is a pretty simple shape, not too complex, but it looks awesome. It's the perfect statue for the middle of this island. Being that I kicked out all the Endermen and they can no longer spawn there anymore, I guess it's good to have a tribute to remember them. And I decided to remove that purple platform and go with crying obsidian so that way it matches the rest of the island. And since I've completely spawn-proofed this entire area, I might as well build out and create an Enderman Farm that'll give me unlimited Ender Pearls and infinite XP. The farm itself is pretty easy to build. You basically need one platform where they can drop down into a kill chamber. Then you just put an Endermite in a minecart just like this, and they'll all run to attack it and they'll fall into the kill chamber. And actually this is the final design I went with. I made some changes because the Endermen were getting stuck in the back of the pit and I couldn't reach them. So I created this piston system to push them forward so that way I make sure I hit every single one with each swipe. As you can see here, it gives me so much XP, I literally can't even absorb it fast enough. So I should be leveling up in no time anytime I need XP. I went ahead and squared off all sides of the island to give it a uniform look. Plus, I'm going to build automatic farms embedded into the walls. This first farm is going to be an automatic bamboo farm. First, I'm going to lay out some mud for it to grow on. Then I'm going to lay down some chests and connect them with hoppers to collect everything that falls onto the mud. Add some more sea lanterns to keep all the Enderman from spawning in it. Lay out some pistons to break it once it's grown. Plant the bamboo so it can start growing. And then create a redstone system with this observer so that way anytime the bamboo reaches this height, it knows when to cut it all down. Now I just have to extend this redstone all the way down through all the pistons and it should be ready to go. I'll go ahead and add some purple glass to the front so that way the pistons don't knock the bamboo off the edge, but it falls down into the mud. And it looks like it should be done, so let's go ahead and give it a test. When I clear this block from the observer, all of the pistons should fire and retract. And of course I did something wrong. This piston is stuck and it's not letting go, so let me fix the redstone. I need to stop the signal from going backwards, so I came with this setup and now it works. Now let's take a step back and let's see how it looks in the side of my island. Nice. Not only does it make my island look awesome having some more texture to the side, but it actually functions as a working automatic bamboo farm. Let's give it one last AFK test just to make sure it's working perfectly. Perfect. I'm gonna give it an 8-hour AFK test to see how much bamboo we can get out of it. Alright, it's been 8 hours, so let's go down and check our chests. And the moment of truth. Alright, yeah, this is a lot of bamboo. There's literally 120 double chests here, so let's do some quick math. So this huge farm produces 4,800 bamboo an hour, which is actually really awesome. So I went ahead and built the next farm. It's exactly the same, so I didn't feel the need to show you how it's built. But instead of bamboo, it's sugarcane. Well, let's give it a test and make sure this one's working as well. And this one's working perfectly, so we should have a ton of sugarcane in no time as well. I also went ahead and built this little window so that way I have a place to fly in and land to access both farms. And the last farm I built into this island is a kelp farm. It's almost the exact same setup, the only difference is it uses water, plus when it collects it actually goes directly into the smokers, so that way I can smelt them right away and turn them into dried kelp, which I can eventually use for fuel. And with this third farm done, my end island transformation is finally complete. And I think it looks freaking amazing. I mean, just look at the difference of what the end island looked like before and how it looks now. And I think that's one of the most fun things you can do in Minecraft. Take something that already exists and transform it into something of your very own. I just want to say if you've made it this far in this video, I really appreciate you taking the time to check this out. This took many hours to record and to edit. So if you liked it, even the littlest of bits, I would really much appreciate a like and a subscribe to the channel. I'm going to continue working on awesome content and cool Minecraft ideas to continue giving you awesome videos. Thanks again, you guys are superstars. We'll see you on the next awesome transformation video.